This podcast is meant for mature audiences only and contains strong sexual language.
We are so excited to announce our partnership with Altplayground, a lifestyle site dedicated to helping you find your next adventure. There are a ton of sites out there for non-monogamy, but what sets Altplayground apart is their emphasis on being inclusive of a host of ethically non-monogamous groups and sexual preferences. So not only will you find swingers on there, but a host of other groups spanning the spectrum of sexual orientation and gender. Hence, the emphasis on alt. When they say they are an open community, they really mean open. So if you're tired of being pigeonholed into a label or looking for something a little different, check out Alt Playground by heading to altplayground.net. Now let's start the show.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Bomber
And the Bell.
And we are hosts of the Black and Kinky Lifestyle Podcast. And we are now officially in the fall. Is that?
Yeah, I think the 21st was the fall equinox.
Yeah. And this is your favorite holiday. Or favorite season, I should say.
Yeah, I would say Christmas is my favorite holiday. But the fall, autumn is definitely a favorite time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the fall. I like the spring. I like the mild seasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to Halloween.
Okay.
Not as much as I typically do.
I was like, what are we doing for Halloween that you looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, if things were normal, I'd be looking forward to all of the Halloween lifestyle parties. Mm-hmm. But this is a very different time.
Which I'm sure there's still some going on.
Right.
We just won't be there.
I mean, have some faith. Maybe we'll pop up at one. You never know what's gonna be going down on October 31st. It falls on a Saturday this year, I think. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so today we have an interesting topic. The topic today is gonna be about whether or not lifestyle friendships are authentic friendships. And we'll talk a little bit about where this topic came from, because I'm really into this, and shout out to monogamous marriage, because they had posted this article, and I want to really get into it. So before we get into that, I wanted to say something from our last episode. So do you remember what we talked about in our last episode, Belle?
Privilege, sexy privilege.
Right. So we talked about sexy privilege, and some of our Patreon members, they liked it and had a few comments on it, and there are a couple of other people who had reached out to us in response to it. One of the things that they were mentioning was that there are some privileges with looking good, and that people really resonated with a lot of people, but they also acknowledge that there are some costs to being really attractive and sexy. So for those of you who haven't listened to that episode, we were just talking about how people who are attractive have privileges just generally in everyday life, like when it comes to their jobs, when it comes to pay, when it comes to just the way people treat them. More attractive people just get treated better in our society. So how this plays out in the lifestyle world is very very similar. So you could imagine a dude who's maybe he's 5'8", comes into a bar, got a fly ass suit on, wearing expensive ass cologne, got the fresh cut, the fresh fade, goatee, shining, glistening, shades on point, right? His game is tight. He watched a lot of gentleman swag videos.
Why would he still have shades on in the club?
Because the lights are bright, Bill.
No.
They're bright. Okay, whatever. All right. So no shades. Anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
First of all, there's a reason to wear shades in the club. Let me tell you why.
There's never a reason for that.
Let me explain.
There's never a reason for that.
What's up? What is your opposition to shades in the club?
You look ridiculous.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just explain the rationale for having shades in the club. You know who got shades in the club all the time?
Who?
The security guards.
Yeah, so they can. I know why, but anyway, go ahead.
Yes, so that they can see. They when you put shades on, people can't really tell where you're looking. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at a fat ass or some cleavage and, of a woman and she happens to be with her man that looks like Ben Diesel, it's not a good look.
Right.
So sometimes you don't want people to see where your eyes are looking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. It has a purpose. Anyway, let's say the dude don't got shades on, since Belle would be hating on him. Mm-hmm. So this guy would be following all the advice we've been talking about as far as dressing well, as far as, being able to spit some game. But then, you imagine this 5'6", swagged gentleman in the club, walks in a 6'2" dude with like python arms. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tall, dark skin. Dude has nothing but a t-shirt on and a pair of jeans. And he won't have any game. But that dude will still get more attention than the fine dressed short gentleman. Mm-hmm. And so that's an example of the kind of privilege that we talked about. But somebody had acknowledged that there are some costs that comes with that privilege. Women, pretty women, very attractive women, they get hit on all the time.
Right.
They get hit on when they don't want to get hit on. They get hit on when they do want to get hit on. They don't get to choose who hits on them. Mm-hmm. And it can be really annoying, and at times can be really dangerous depending on where that woman is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So I wanted to acknowledge that there's some risk that comes with that. I think the risk is really heavily on the backs of women, though. Men don't really have to worry about this kind of thing. Okay, so before we get into the topic today, we have we've received this email. So this is kind of all
right, this comes from L. Something that was requested from a partner that I didn't quite jive with. Well, my significant other of 6 years now asked about anal play. My boyfriend said he is eager to try, as he has heard anal play for a man is an orgasm that is like no other. This clean freak of a guy was more embarrassed and shook that he would make a mess or shit himself. Mm-hmm. LOL. Knowing that he is a nervous shitter. God. Like, if that was my issue when I got nervous, listen. It'd be a rough life. I knew I had to be extra cautious with him. We are so comfortable with one another that I told him if there's an accident or whatnot, I wouldn't judge. Shit happens, and I know where I'm going. The next weekend after dinner and after a long shower from his end, he busted out the finger condoms and even laid down a bath towel, which made me chuckle, as this clean freak wanted to make sure if there was any messes made, it won't hurt his sheets on the bed. I excused myself to the restroom and immediately called my friend, who is a gay male. He told me to make sure he's relaxed by sucking his dick on his back and then taking my index finger and gently inserting it. He showed me the finger motion of how to stroke it. I hung up and went into the bedroom, placed that finger condom on, and lubed it on up. I fingered his ass while sucking his dick, and lo and behold, bam! He enjoyed it so much that he was asking me to go deeper. I felt like such a boss at that moment in time. Definitely not something I have ever experienced. I realized I enjoyed doing it as well. Afterwards, there was no messes. Woohoo! The condom came out clean, and I know he was relieved by that. I would have been relieved by that too. And good on y'all for using a condom, a finger condom.
Yeah,
because that would be mandatory.
Right. Right. It's interesting because I think Horrible Decisions had posted an Instagram meme with I can't remember what cartoon this thing came from, but it was basically like these two cartoon characters wiping off what looked like chocolate ice cream off the ground, and one of them saying, "Okay, this is the last time we try anal." So this was an interesting one because, particularly because the writer here had consulted with a gay male. Specifically, I'm assuming a bottom who would know a lot about making sure your ass is clean. So I had posted a question about how people clean their asses, and somebody posted a link to a whole system that involved douching, having a movement, douching again.
Yeah, had to do. And I thought you weren't supposed to eat, but you know.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. And I would, and they were like, yo, you got to keep doing it until, you know, when you push that water out, it is completely clean and clear. You know, push that shit into a glass, make sure you don't see nothing. That is one clean rectum if you can get there. So shout out to Elle for trying something new. So this was in response to a question we put out there about whether or not you've ever done something with your partner that wasn't necessarily something that you were into, but you know, took one for the team and decided that you were going to prioritize making your partner feel good. So shout out to Elle for doing that. Okay, so this next one is from AA.
I love your podcast. I'm currently dating a gentleman who is interested in threesomes, swinger clubs, or things like that. I'm curious and along for the journey. I'm the kind of person that I like to learn as much as I can about things I'm interested in, and your podcast helps me so much. So thank you for that. I was listening to episode 46, and you talked about woman happy ending massages, and let me tell you, I want one. I had a massage last year that I thought was gonna go there, and I was so excited. I think this is definitely an industry that could blow up. I agree with Belle that it would probably be a good fingering session or toy play. Thank you so much for taking your time and reading my email. Any information shared is a blessing. I would love that too. I feel like, you know, the male massage happy ending is talked about more and is more acceptable. And it's like female happy ending massages are like underground. I'm like, where do you find them? Because they had like, when we were living in New York, they had like legit like massage parlors, like, you know, like that is a happy ending massage parlor.
Right. No, it's a pretty...
I mean, like the masseuses?
I guess. Masseuse. I don't know.
Well,
English language is tough.
Yeah, are probably like sex trafficked people, which is unfortunate, but you know.
Yeah. This is interesting because we were just watching The Chi.
Yeah.
And there was a sequence involving one of these happy endings that went a little further than I thought happy endings would go for women. Like,
yeah.
I like this was like, it was just straight up fucking. I could imagine that being a possibility. I don't think that's the norm. If it is underground, I think it's like chicks getting eaten out, fingered, like they're getting orgasms. But yeah, I think it's underground because if it wasn't underground, there'd be a whole lot of niggas trying to be masseuses. We would be blowing up the industry. But yeah, I mean, what would you want your masseuse to look like if it was a happy ending thing? We're going to come full circle back to this sexy privilege thing.
Well, obviously, yeah, he would have to be attractive. And I would assume because he's a masseuse, he's somewhat muscular, you know, to work my muscles. Yeah. And
you would just want to be eaten out in some finger play.
Yeah.
Or just, yeah.
No, I wouldn't be trying to fuck.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah. Cause you don't know, you're not really quite sure where it could go.
Right.
You know, and that could make things awkward, I could imagine. All right. So I wanted to do a Reddit spotlight because I read there was a comment on Reddit that was just, I thought it was great. Somebody sent it to us in our band chat. And I really appreciate the person who sent this to me. So thanks a lot. Because I want to talk about this. Okay. So I'm going to read this one out. Okay, so one night at a bar that had a regular swinger night, we ended up talking to an out-of-town couple for hours. They made it clear that they were interested in us going back to their hotel, but while the guy was all over my wife in a perfectly respectable but very open manner, I didn't really think the other wife was really into me. I felt like it was going to be more along the lines of I was good enough and she would take one for the team. So we didn't end up with them, and afterwards my wife was astonished that I hadn't been dying to have sex with the other wife, who was quite attractive. I mentioned that she didn't seem that into me, and my wife was even more astonished. She said it was obvious that the other wife was totally into me. I like to think that I'm above average at picking up signals, but boy, did one of us read that wrong, and while I still don't see how I could have misread it so thoroughly, not even with the benefit of hindsight, my wife is definitely much smarter and more sensitive than I. So I wonder how often societal conditioning plays a part in these interactions. But the basic question is, like, how often are guys like getting this wrong? How often are we not reading the signals right? And so some of the things he said he looked out for were, light touches on the hand or forearm, touching under the table, things like that.
Touching under the table.
Yeah, like if she grabs your thigh or something. So we were having a discussion about this. So one, do you kind of hear where this guy is coming from? Basically, he's saying that women aren't sending him the signals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I'm that woman. I mean, I be sending signals, but I feel like men, like the men and the partners that we interact with, often find themselves in this position with me. Yeah, because they end up coming up to me and saying they're not sure that you're that into them. Which I don't understand, because I be talking and stuff. Like, I be talking to them.
Right.
I be asking questions.
Right. Sometimes that's not,
Like, I ain't jumping your lap or nothing like that, but if I gotta do all of that, no.
Yeah, you're not the aggressive type.
No.
Which is fine.
But it's not like aloof.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think, and I'm biased clearly, but I think when you're into a guy, I think it's obvious enough. I don't think you have to do much more than what you're doing. But I had reflected on myself in this, in our swinger experiences, and I never once asked a husband whether their wife was into me or not, because to some degree I don't care. I know that sounds weird. What I could tell is if she's not into me at all. Like, if she's not interested, I can usually pick that up. I think there are some exceptions, but I could usually pick that up. As long as I don't get that signal, I don't care. Because I'm like, I'm just going to be me, and either she's going to like it or she's like not. But as long as she's not giving me the super cold shoulder, I'm cool. Like, I don't need anything else. But I have historically been absolutely horrible at reading signals. In my 20s, I was terrible. I lost so many opportunities. I was telling you a story of one time this chick with a fat ass I met on college campus. I was like maybe a sophomore. No, I probably was a freshman. I met her after class. We were talking for a while, and I happened to be in this part of my campus that was pretty nice. It was a pretty cool dormitory I was in. We had balconies and all that shit, and a lot of dormitories didn't have that. So I told her I was there, and she was like, "Oh, I'd like to come see it." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So she's coming to my room now. We get to the room. I'm chilling. And she's like, she lays on my bed, and I'm still not getting it, fellas. I'm still not getting the signal. Cause she's laying there. Cause I'm like, okay, well, there wasn't anywhere else to sit. So, but she's laying on the bed. She could have sat on the bed, but she's laying there. It's just not clicking. And she's like, oh, this is really nice. God, I'm really tired. I think I'm going to take a nap.
I don't know what you were thinking.
I was thinking, you know what? I could use a nap too.
Oh,
And we ended up taking a nap. But then we woke up and, my friends came in and she started asking these weird questions about what kind of girls I'm into or something like that. And
I would have been so pissed at you.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been so pissed. Like, nigga, I have laid the pussy out for you. Like, all you had to do was slide in. You didn't have to do any work. Slide into home base and you hopped right on past it.
But you know what? The reason why I felt that way?
Why?
Because I was quite an ugly duckling. Okay. In high school, I was not a looker. Like, I was actually extremely unattractive. Skinny, dark skin, like bad smile. There was just nothing redeeming about me. But then in that year was when I got a lot of shit fixed. My style was a little different. I got contact lenses, like, my teeth got straight. I wasn't used to cause I was really used to women just rejecting me and women kind of leading me on and women just like, not giving up the pussy. I was not used to a chick just laying it out on a platter like that. So I didn't have, you know what I mean? I didn't have the experience to tell me that's what was happening. That wasn't the only time that happened. There was another time I remember I was in a girl's bed and she was looking at me in my eyes, and trying to make out with me and I just wasn't getting it.
When did you figure this out?
When did I figure out what?
Like when a woman was throwing pussy at you.
I think probably when I turned junior. It took about a year for me to I don't know what the fuck was going on. But I think that's when I got a girlfriend and then I started piping her out. And
well, how did you get the girlfriend?
Okay, well that's an interesting story. Well, I used to hang out with these sorority girls a lot. They were letting me in. I still wasn't getting it. And she was an aggressive woman. So she wasn't laying out the pussy. She was like, I'm going to wrap your dick around this shit. And you're going to understand what the fuck I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
So she got hers. She was very aggressive too. She used to come to my room with lingerie. It was weird. So yeah, but anyway, as far as guys not getting the clue, like a lot of women aren't like aggressive. And so I feel like guys who have been like, we talk about 9 to 5s, right? So guys who are sort of on that unattractive scale, they're so used to kind of being rejected that they're really cautious about moving forward with a woman sometimes, and they need a lot of evidence to assure them that this isn't going to be another rejection. So this guy seems like he has a few insecurities, but I don't know. I think you girls can do a better job is all I'm saying.
Probably.
So
I ain't gonna lie about that.
But I'd be interested to hear from the fellas about this one. How often did you misread a situation?
And whenever we do get back out there, I'm going to be real rusty.
I mean, if you're laughing at a nigga's jokes.
I laugh at everybody.
Nah. Like if you laugh at a nigga's jokes and like slap his chest or something like that, like put your hand on his chest, I'm like, yo, he got it. I know, like that's the sign. Okay, let's move on to the hit list. So this is going to be an interesting one because Belle hasn't really, I don't know what's going on with you today. All right, I'm going to go first. So I'm just going to say my hit list target in this episode is, I think her name is Kiersey Clemens. So there was a movie called Antebellum that came out that I really liked. We actually reviewed the film, and it is available to our Patreon members. But she plays in that movie, but she also, earlier in her career, well, I guess only, 5 years ago, she was in a movie called Dope. You guys, if you haven't seen Dope, DOPE, it was a great movie. Like if you're into like 90s hip hop, that was the movie to watch. If you haven't seen this movie, see that movie. In that movie, she plays this lesbian. And she was cute in that movie. She didn't really catch my eye in that movie, but I saw her, the next time I saw her was in Annabellum, and she's really cute. She's this light-skinned 5'7" chick, biracial. And she has a pretty sexy body, nice pair of thick legs. Check her out. Yeah, she was, her dad was black and her mother was white. So she might have been, her mother might have been a queen of spades.
I don't remember. Well, I remember the movie Dope. I just don't remember her in it.
Yeah, it's fine. She like there were 3 characters. One was the main character. There was another dude, and then she was the chick.
Because she was more butch in that movie.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. She was like a stud.
Yeah.
But she was cute, and she's gotten better with age. So that is my target. Who's yours?
So you said it's fun, but so we had to change insurance, and so we got a new insurance guy. But our insurance guy is cute.
I am absolutely shocked. Well, I shouldn't be.
No, you shouldn't be,
because he looks a little bit like me.
Yeah. Like he's dark skinned. I mean, he's bald headed. I believe he's bald headed.
You don't got a problem with bald-headed.
No, I don't have a problem with bald-headed. Yeah. But he's a very good looking, he's young. He's a very good looking black man. Mm-hmm. And he's got a nice personality.
Yeah, he does. I like his personality. Yeah. Like we could be friends, but we're not going to be, because I need him to focus on my finances.
Right. So yeah, that's not, the insurance guy could get it.
Well, it depends. You don't know how tall he is.
This is true. I've only seen him sitting down.
That's right.
on virtual, on Zoom.
Yeah.
So he could stand up, and it'd be a whole different situation.
We're totally going to ask him how tall he is next time we talk to him. Okay. All right. So real quick, I just want to say a couple of things about APG. So they are making it even easier to customize your personal experience on their site with their newest feature. They have a news feed that allows you to keep up to date with your lifestyle contacts, see when new events are announced, and view some of the naughtiest pictures. I think that this is actually a really important thing, because when we had our profile, because I've changed things up a little bit, like we take some really good pictures, and people won't be able to see those pictures unless they log in and, check out our gallery. Well, Playground has all these, altplayground.net, check them out. So they have these features where people can actually share to a wall. So it's actually like you get like a news feed. And so people are sharing their pictures. And so more people get to see some of the sexy pictures you put out there. And it's just an easier way to just get seen.
So it's like sexy Facebook.
Basically, yeah, yeah. And so, Altplayground, sometimes they have themes where, like, today we're doing selfies, today we're doing, butt shots and, titty shots or whatever. So people kind of have to put effort into it, which I kind of appreciate. So, yeah, check them out. All right, quick Patreon shout out to our members. So just a shout out to Lene, Desi, Vision, Rizzy, Jeremy, Mike, Jill, Derek, Texas Bama, Redonia, Clifton, Brown Girl, Silverback, Christy, Mr. B, Chadwick, and Ricky. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. You guys really, your contributions really do go a long way in keeping this show running. Okay, so let's get into the topic of today. So are swinger friends really friends? So this has been on my mind for a while, because some of the lifestyle friends we've built, sometimes they've been a little too good to be true. And I've been asking myself, all right, I'm only friends with these people because they just want to have sex with us, and that's why they're so nice. Right? And so there's like a hint of dishonesty there, because if there were some things they didn't like, they probably wouldn't say them because they would risk getting some action from us if we became available. So that's been on my mind, and I have not been able to articulate it, but Monogamous Marriage posted this thing on Twitter, this article on Twitter, where it's sort of an exchange, I believe, between the two of them, where they're talking about this dynamic, like, of lifestyle friendships and whether or not they're actually real. So shout out to them. I'll have a link of it in the show notes. There are a couple of quotes I want to just dissect. So it starts with this one. So I'm going to read it, and then I'm just going to ask you, Belle, to jump in. Mm-hmm. So, right. So, because I was reading it out loud. Okay. So this is a friend talking to the writer. So she says, lifestyle people are some of the most enjoyable people she has ever been around, but that in the end, these people have only one thing on their minds. And because it's all about sex, it's hard not to see the friendship as superficial. Have you ever felt this way?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think this is just my own self-doubting myself. Anyway. But like you think, oh, you had a good connection with a person, but did you really? And is it only because you had sex with them and they enjoyed it and they want to make sure that they maintain that opportunity, or, or they want to have sex with you. And so like they're, trying to, be likable. And we talk about this, like we talk about, getting people to have sex with you. Part of that is being likable, like being, enjoyable to be around. So is that all a facade just to get the goodies?
Yes. This is really an important point, because like being desirable is a huge part of the lifestyle. But I'd argue that it's a huge part of our lives. We want to be liked. People want to be liked anyway. Like, you want to be liked by your friends, you want to be liked by your family or whatever. So
well, actually, I don't need all them to like me, but
okay,
family.
Okay. This is why one of us has. Okay, never mind. I'm not even going to go there. But basically, I think that we kind of put up a facade regardless, because we need people to like us. Sometimes things get real, but with our friendships, I think that is still there. It's just sex isn't the thing that people are after. It's more acceptance, but I think I think that's true for the lifestyle as well. But I'll also acknowledge that everyone you play with and everyone you seek to play with are not necessarily lifestyle friends.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But the ones who actually do become your friend, those friendships, I believe, are authentic. So one of the quotes from this, because this is really about like what makes lifestyle friendships deep and just better friendships in some ways. So you're already letting them in on a secret you keep from everyone else in your life, that you sleep with other people outside of your relationship. You start out in a place of honesty and trust that other couples might not get to in decades of friendship. That's
very true. I mean, yeah, there's we have a whole bunch of couple friends who, don't know that we're in the lifestyle. And and there's stuff that we don't know about their relationships, obviously, too. And that doesn't mean that you share all your secrets with your lifestyle friends. But it does set this like level playing field for honesty and openness. Because they already know this like big thing about you that you have to keep secret from other people.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. and this goes a little deeper. It's besides just people knowing that you practice non-monogamy, because there are people that know that we practice it in our vanilla world.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't feel any closer to them because they know that.
No.
So we're going to get into that.
Would you think you would?
Yeah. But not really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's a reason for that, and I'm going to go into it a little bit later. The other quote I wanted to get into was, quote, "Swingers are people who have found ways to say yes to the good parts of extramarital attraction and no to the bad." And I wanted to break this down. So there's adultery and there's swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So adultery, by design, it's dishonest. It can lead to pregnancy and STIs. It can lead to divorce, family destruction. It can really ruin a lot of lives, including those of your children.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when people started thinking about adultery, and I said this when we were talking to the Sweet Life podcast,
Mm-hmm.
It was during a time where there wasn't much contraception. Condoms weren't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were adulterous, I mean, you could fuck things up.
Yeah.
Of having children out of wedlock, all of that shit. But swinging is open and honest. It's done with protective mechanisms and precautions, condom use, testing. For the most part, maybe this is true for most swingers, certainly true for us, I think. Clear boundaries to avoid friendships from becoming romantic. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Unless y'all decide to be poly, but on the last one. But yeah.
Right. Which wouldn't be swinging anymore.
Right, yeah.
Now, can you read this next quote for me?
"The honesty that allows a man to admit his attraction to another man's wife extends to every aspect of the relationship between the couples. There is simply less pretending all around and more genuine connection."
This was one of my favorite quotes from this article, because this is what I was thinking about when it comes to our vanilla friendships and the things we can't really share.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you agree with that notion?
I do. I definitely.
I mean, this is talking about man, but like I think it's true for women too.
Right. I mean, because even before we were in the lifestyle, we would talk about vanilla couples or vanilla people that we saw or interacted with that we thought were attractive. Not that we thought we would do anything at that time, but one being able to be honest with ourselves about that we are still attracted to other people besides each other, and then being able to share that, or now I should say being able to share that honesty with those people that we think are attractive, adds another level to the dynamic of connection and intimacy.
Right. And I wanted to go back to so one, let me just acknowledge that honesty is really cool. That honesty is like a breath of fresh air. There's another point in this article where they're like, if you put attractive 30 or 40 or some things in a room together, like, of course there's going to be some cross attraction. Mm-hmm. There's some partners of my friends that I find attractive. We can't talk about that. Mm-hmm. There's some partners of your friends that you might find attractive. Can't talk about that. Mm-hmm. And so what that had me thinking about was, even though in the lifestyle we have these set rules and boundaries, right, that would make you think, well, since you have to have these rules and boundaries, are those really authentic friendships? Mm-hmm. I would argue that in vanilla, in our vanilla friendships, there are still boundaries. They're just unspoken.
Yeah. So
I wanted to go through some of those. So just tell me if this is right. So when it comes to vanilla relationships, right? Vanilla friendships, talking, for the most part, there are some exceptions. So talking about sex is off the table. So let's say we're with a couple. Mm-hmm. So this isn't true. Like when you're talking with your girls, you could talk about sex. When I'm talking about my guys,
I got you. Mixed company.
Yes, mixed company. Is this true? Can we talk about sex? And when is that true?
I wouldn't say no, but the depth and graphicness of the conversation is highly limited.
Give me an example of like a conversation we had regarding sex with a vanilla couple. Can you remember one?
Yeah, we were talking about uncircumcised penises.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So that was a thing. Couldn't go. Yeah, that was skating the edge a little bit. Now that I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, we can't go too far with this one. It's kind of funny. But like talking about sex it could be problematic because it can be, even if you're not flirting, it could be suggestive and kind of broach that territory where you can make a mistake and say something you're not supposed to say. But again, this is unspoken. There are some friends we don't have a problem doing this with, but I think even then it's a little like, I can't talk about like, hey, the Belle and I were doing it last night and she let me bust on her lips.
Oh, well, no. So I would definitely say that even when you are able to talk about sex, it's speaking generally and not speaking specifically about experiences that you've had with the partner that you're currently with.
Bingo. Yes. Absolutely. So that's off the table. Like, and some people might disagree with me, but in my experience, like with vanilla couples, like you can't be doing that shit. So flirting with so the next bullet I have here is flirting with each other's partners is also off the table, which I think is an easy one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sharing any attraction to each other's partners is prohibited. So basically, if I tell my friend that I think his wife is really sexy.
Yeah, no. I mean, but you could say, oh, if we're out together, oh, you look really nice today. Like you could say, a compliment that's very high level and basic. Not like, I like how your titties look in that dress.
Like, damn, your wife got a fat ass.
Right.
She could the thing is, in the vanilla world, like, she could be sexy as fuck. You can't say shit. Like, you look nice in that dress. Wow, that fits you well. But
that's cutting it close. That fits you well. What you mean? Fits where?
Fuck you trying to say, bomber?
Right.
Trying to say you want to fuck my wife? All right. So sharing naughty pictures or videos.
Oh, hell no.
So I wanted to talk about this. I remember like years ago. So I have a crew of friends that, we have a chat, I have a bunch of chats, but this is like friends I grew up with. So, one of these friends, was dating a girl, and this was his girlfriend. This was his girl. And he would, take video of him smashing her or whatever, which is fine. Like couples do that all the time. We do that all the time. But he would share them in this chat. And no one would say a word. No one would respond to it. He'd be like, yo, fellas, check this out. And finally I came out and said, because after, he had showed a video of her giving him a blowjob. And finally I came out and scolded him. And I was like, yo, son, listen, yo, you can't you can't do this. Like, if this is your girl, you cannot do this. You cannot be sharing videos of your girl with us. We see this chick. So, and the reason why I told him that wasn't because I thought it was immoral, but I was like, but it's because he's the kind of guy who would get upset.
Right, because if y'all said something, he would be feeling some type of way.
Exactly. It's
like you can't be mad. Really, look. You could have been on some petty shit and said something, and then he get upset, and you be like, but like, you put her out there.
That's exactly. and I think for the most part, it's kind of lame to be doing that shit without chicks' approval, like without their permission anyway. But he was the kind of guy that would get upset if you were talking about his partner in a way like, yo, I would fuck her. Like,
that makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And so he stopped sharing that shit. But
what was his response to you? Like, he just stopped shit. He didn't respond. He just stopped sharing shit. This dumb motherfucker.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But to this day, he'll still share like photos and videos of random chicks. But it's like, if any of us hollered at them chicks, he would have a problem with it. Like, no. It's just the weirdest dynamic.
You giving your boys a trailer to like coming attractions of your girl.
Basically.
Like, this nigga is a fuck up. So she gonna be available soon. Right. So dumb.
Yeah,
so dumb.
But it's basically a way for him to show off, like, oh, I can get chicks to do shit on camera. Like, that's why he's doing it. But anyway, that shit is off limits. Like, I would never share a sexy video or picture in my vanilla circles. I would never do that. So the other one I have here is more like a specific thing, but dancing with another partner in any kind of provocative way. So like if we're out with another couple and we're in a club, like I can dance with my man's girl, but that dance has limits.
Yeah.
She cannot back that shit up.
Nah.
Cannot do that. So if I was dancing with my boy's girl and she was like giving me dubs, oh no. That'd be the end of that friendship.
To me.
What doesn't make sense?
Dubs.
It's a New York thing. So would you agree with these? Are there any other limits? Any other limits any other unspoken limits in vanilla circles?
I would say like talking to the person, like outside of a 4-way chat about stuff that's explicit. Like, like you talked to one of my friends about coordinating regarding some pictures. Like, that's fine. Ain't nobody tripping over that. But, if she was like, I want to slide on that dick. That's
or not even that. She could say something. I mean, that would be a bit extreme, but she could say something like, you were looking really good at the party yesterday.
Yeah,
that would be really huge. All right. And the same is true for you. Like if a guy, yeah. So. Anything else? I'm also like thinking about little shit that could happen. Like, you might be on a double date or something like that. Like if I'm like staring into homegirl's eyes, or some shit like that. Or I'm talking to her a little longer than, you know what I mean? There's little shit, that could really throw things off.
Yeah.
But it's like all of these unspoken rules. So let's talk about the lifestyle boundaries. I'm like, I don't know. There aren't many here. Okay. So open and honest communication.
Yeah.
So that's like almost a universal rule. Limit disclosure of the sexual parts of that friendship for non-lifestylers.
I don't know what that means.
All right. So it's like if we're fucking another couple, we want to keep that discreet from the vanilla community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So discretion is the law. I'm just being really wordy for no reason.
Right.
Limited private interactions between partners. So
that depends on the couple, I would say. I mean, some couples, a big part of their play is separate play and separate like interactions.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I don't know. I still think there are some limits there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And those limits have to be like really clear. Like, otherwise this is a poly thing.
Right. Or an open relationship.
Right. And then, the other thing I have here is just that there are spoken rather than unspoken rules.
Mm-hmm.
More spoken. I think there's still some unspoken rules in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, there's a general rule on making sure there's clarity. But do you feel like there are ever like some moments where, you felt like, oh, this is a surprise. Like, I don't know what to do about this situation. Anything you weren't prepared for in the lifestyle?
I mean, I think that's a lot of things. I don't know what specifically though.
If I had to think of a situation, it was, we were at a Canna event, and there was this woman there, a single woman who was really nice looking, actually. Had nice curly hair. She looked like she worked out. And, usually when we go to, this is a Canna event that was thrown by a friend of ours who, throws cannabis events. So we sit in there and we, getting our smoke on or whatever. And this isn't a play event. It's just, we go there, maybe take some edibles, sample some stuff, and then we go home, talk a little bit, play some games or whatever. And so it comes to the end of the night and we're chilling because we know the host. And we go in the basement, and the girl, I think she came up to you and said, she was interested in playing with me.
Right. Yeah.
So that was a situation I didn't have a script for, because I'm like, number one, we usually play together, but sometimes that's not really a big deal. But this was an event we weren't even planning on playing at. So, I wanted to play with her, but I was just like, nah, this something doesn't feel right here. You know what I mean? Like there's a disturbance in the force. So little moments like that happen sometimes, and we can talk about them.
Yeah.
And we have rules. We have not rules. We have a room to talk about them. Like it's like normative. So that's what I think that's what some of the key differences between lifestyle friends and vanilla friends are. But I've been thinking about this because I've been kind of wondering, like, what is it that creates a friendship?
Yeah.
Like when you reflect on your own friendships.
Well, I never know. Like, I'm always asking you, like, am I really friends with this person? Or like, what is this? I'm not sure. I'm not good at this.
Right. Well, I mean, have you given it any thought? I know we talk about this a lot. It's interesting. You're such an introvert. It's like you're introvert to the point where it's like it's almost like you're an alien, and you're like, I don't understand how these life forms engage their relationships, so I'm going to play by these rules. You would never know that if you've ever, like, if you listen to this show and you've heard the bell speak. You'd never know that, but that's who she is. So anyway, it's like you're asking me questions like, is this life form my friend or are they an acquaintance?
Yes. It's a regular question I have for you.
Well, I think that's what I wanted to make the rest of this episode about. So you might disagree with me when I talk about these things, but I wanted to talk about what is it that kind of makes a friend, and I'm sort of like kind of vacillating between vanilla and lifestyle because I think they're different. So I came upon a couple of websites and videos, and I put this list together, and I call it like the 5 levels of friendship. And most people, like, it starts at level 1, which is strangers, people you don't know.
Right.
And then the extreme is like best friends. So I wanted to go through this and talk about what it looks like in vanilla world and lifestyle world. So I think strangers is an easy one. These are people you don't know, right, clearly. And then if you meet them, they become acquaintances. So acquaintances, and just tell me if I'm wrong here. So acquaintances, these are people you have small talk with. These are like in the vanilla world, your coworkers. In some cases, they could be your neighbors.
Yeah.
Anybody you have like a business relationship can fall in this category. I think that in the lifestyle, acquaintance is actually really interesting. When I think of acquaintances, I think of like people we might run into, right? Since we're the bomber and the bell. So as soon as somebody introduces themselves, boom, acquaintance that knows more about us than we know about them, right? But usually when we meet, when I know I'm talking to an acquaintance, if we happen to run into them at a party, there's like an hourglass, like, okay, I'm going to give this couple like 10 minutes of dialogue before we make some bullshit excuse. I was like, right. What was the dumbest excuse you ever used to like remove yourself from an interaction with an acquaintance? Like, have you ever like been talking to an acquaintance and then like an awkward silence comes up and you're like, all right, it was good talking to you. I got to check and see if it's raining outside.
I don't think I even say anything. I just like leave. I just feel like you know that meme where Homer is like fading into the hedge.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's definitely you.
Yeah, I just like slide away.
Be like, where the bell? All of a sudden, I'm the only one talking to the couple.
Yeah.
And you just fucking disappeared.
Yeah.
Into another dimension and shit. Now, what's interesting in the lifestyle is like acquaintances. These are the people like you might exchange kicks with. So you might be chatting on Kik with them. You might share dirty pictures with acquaintances in the lifestyle. And you might actually fuck an acquaintance.
Yeah.
Like that can happen real easy. You can just be in the playroom and another couple is there and you're like, hey guys, you might not even know their name in the lifestyle, but y'all might fuck. And we're not going to say much to each other after that. Sometimes that happens. I think lifestylers have an abundance of acquaintances because of this dynamic. We are united around our love of sex and pleasure and fantasies. And it's almost like we're going to a sporting event. Sometimes we sit next to each other. We might like cheer together if our team is winning. Like in the lifestyle, we fuck sometimes. Right. Or, might touch a titty or, might get stroked. All right. So would you agree with me that this is kind of what it looks like?
Yeah.
So these are acquaintances, right? So this episode has been about lifestyle friendships. We haven't gotten there yet.
No.
But now, so that was level 2. So it's strangers, level 2 is acquaintances, and then level 3 is casual friends.
Right.
So casual friends, acquaintances may become casual friends. Sometimes, casual friends are the people that you have fun with. These are the folks that you might go to brunch with.
Yeah.
You might go with them on vacation. But there's still kind of an emotional distance between these people. And they don't really see you at your worst. They usually see you at your best, right? So I think most of our lifestyle relationships, most of our lifestyle friendships fall in this box. So let me just bring this back to vanilla. So somebody is a casual friend and not really beyond that because they can't come to your house unannounced.
Yeah.
They can't do that. If they're coming over, you're usually cleaning up before they get there.
I mean, most people can't come to our house unannounced.
I'd say casual friends cannot come to our house unannounced.
Yeah. I would agree. I'm trying to think of who can come to our house unannounced and like my mom.
Oh yeah. So let me rephrase this. So who can come to your house and it be messy? Is kind of what I'm saying. Because usually people can't come to your house unannounced because you haven't prepared your dwelling for guests. Right. So, yeah, I guess your mom would. Yeah. Actually, just about all of my friends can come over unannounced. Well, not unannounced, but they can come over without me cleaning up. Actually, I just don't clean up shit. Like,
right. I was like, I don't.
That's your thing.
Yeah. I don't know if this rule applies universally. Because even, yes, your close friends, your best friend were to come over. No, the house cannot be a mess.
Yeah. But I think that's just because they just don't live close and they don't come over often.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of our lifestyle friends fall in this category because I don't think any lifestyle friends have actually seen us at our worst. You know how you know somebody has breached the casual friend zone when they've kind of come out of that? If you and that friend have had a conflict and have survived the conflict, if your friendship has survived a conflict,
yeah,
you're definitely out of that casual friend zone. I think so.
I think so too. Like I was telling you, I had a while ago asked you about a friend that I have, who you were saying is a close friend, and I think it's a casual friend because we haven't had like that keystone moment.
Yeah.
That transforms the relationship where not, and I don't think it necessarily has to be a conflict, but you know, that moment that brings us closer.
Yeah. I want to talk about that. Cause that's how a casual friend becomes something more. It's sometimes like some people can stay in the casual friend box for years. And sometimes they're just there for a few months because there's this one moment where bam, like something happens. So, you know how you know you have a close friend? I think it's when these people can see you in a compromising position. This is what I think is the main difference between close friends and casual friends. If, let's say I got drunk and I just cursed everybody out. You know, it's one of those drunk nights where I'm just telling everybody about themselves. I'm like, bitch, you a hoe. Get out of my fucking house. Nigga, your dick is small and my wife has been too pleasant to tell you about that shit. You need to take your small dick ass home. And you, nigga, you can never get it up. You don't even belong in this motherfucking party. You could go home. Okay? And chick, you look nice. I want to fuck you later on. You know, one of those bad nights.
But that also could be one of those like key turning points in a friendship too.
Yeah. Have you ever had that happen? Have you ever fucked up one night and like lost a friend as a result?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I have not, or at least I don't remember being in that position. I know that I've had bad nights, but I know I have a close friend when that bad night doesn't necessarily end the friendship. It's just like, it's basically like, you know, they might not speak to me the next day, but I don't have to worry about the friendship ending because of this. In a casual friendship, I feel like some shit like that goes down and we aren't casual friends no more. Like it's like we're back in associate category. I mean, not associate. What the fuck did I call it? Associate.
Acquaintance.
Acquaintance. Thank you. Began with an A. I knew that.
Which I think an acquaintance and an associate are basically the same.
Right. But I think what you were saying upstairs, because I was reflecting on a couple of friends we have that fall into this close friend category. Although maybe they're casual friends, but they went from acquaintances to being casual friends because a boundary was tested.
Right.
Do you remember what that boundary was?
We went to a strip club together.
Right.
Randomly.
Right. Or more importantly, she suggested going to a strip club. And it was like, oh.
Right.
Okay. We like seeing titties. And that was a vanilla friendship.
Right.
So like a boundary was tested. I feel like that's what kind of, I mean, you were saying like it was like one step.
Right. So I think that's, on the stairway to, best friends. You take these steps. And so like you test, the step to see, is it slippery? Is it too high? Whatever. And if it's safe, you kind of move up in the friendship. So from acquaintances to casual friends. And if the boundary is tested and it's not safe, then you either stay at the same level or you go down.
Right. Yeah. And I think, so it's interesting in the lifestyle. Like I said, I don't think we have folks that fall in this category. Like we have people we have like casual friends, but I don't think I can say it's interesting if people kind of call me out when they hear this episode, some of our casual lifestyle friends. Cause what I'll ask them is, yo, if I had a bad night, like, would you cut me off or would you like forgive me? And like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't trust folks enough to accept a bad night from the bomber.
Oh, I think we have some folks that would accept a bad night from you.
Why would you say that? What makes you say that?
Because I think we're on that step.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't had a bad night.
No.
You're not in terms of like, getting rowdy or anything like that.
Right. Because
like you've gotten too drunk, but it hasn't been like an angry drunk.
No.
It's just like you're just not functional.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And I've been so drunk that I've messed up a few acquaintance relationships because, folks might be trying to talk to me after we done fucking and I'm so drunk I can't even remember that we fucked. So, and some people don't take that the right way. So, but I think like if you have lifestyle friends that can, see you at your worst and still accept you and still be friends with you, I think that's a really valuable thing. Mm-hmm. So close friends. So this isn't the most intimate friendship. Like I think level 5. So that was level 4 is close friends. Level 5 though is like best friends. This is like intimate friendship. This is like the closest you can get. So you trust these people a lot. These are people like you can get fucked up in front of. I think what I know I have like a best friend or intimate friends when I know I can truly be myself around these people. I can be as weird as I want to be and I don't have to worry about being judged. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can say, these are people you might go to jail for. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you how, so I have 3 friends that I think fall in this category, which I think is a lot. Like I think you only need 1 or 2. But I have 3. I know, let me tell you how weird it can get between us. So let's say we're on a road trip, right? Mm-hmm. We're on a road trip. Let's say I'm driving and all these niggas is asleep. If I start singing a song, and I'm not even talking about like top 40 shit, because I feel like top 40 shit, you could just start busting.
I don't think you even know any top 40 songs.
Not now, but maybe back in the 90s, But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about really weird. So I can start singing the intro song to the Pokemon cartoon back in the day. You remember that shit? I want to be the very best. You don't remember that shit? Yeah. If I just started busting out singing that in a car with these dudes, you know what would happen?
They would start singing too.
They would wake up and start singing that shit.
I have a hard time believing that one of them would do that, but
all of them would start. And the only reason why they might not sing is because they don't remember the words, but all my niggas remember the words to that song because that shit, that was our jam. And after we're done with the song, nobody's going to ask why I started singing it. They're just going to be like, yo, that was a cool cartoon. How many Pokemons are there now? Like 1,000? So yeah, I think these are like your ride or die people. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we'll ever have lifestyle friends that fall in this category. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, if we're on a road trip with another lifestyle couple and I could bust out a Pokemon song and they sing along with us, we might be poly at that point. If I could get that weird in front of a couple, shit, yeah. We might have to have a talk. Like, maybe we just all move in together. Fuck it. Okay. Think about our lifestyle friends. I'm gonna get a little risky with you right now. So I want you to think about all of our lifestyle friends and just reflect on our experiences and your experiences with friendship. Like, could you give an example of something that could happen to turn a lifestyle casual friendship into a close friendship? Like, can you imagine that scenario? Like, what is it that would need to happen in order for that transition to take place?
First of all, again, not the best person to be asking this question. But it would be like, some experience that we, went through together. So for instance, say we did go on vacation with a couple. I think the experiences that we would have with them on vacation could be the catalyst to move from casual to close.
Yeah.
I think if we had an experience that was purely vanilla, that was somehow important, could be that transition point too.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like a vacation, like a long vacation. I'm not talking about a weekend getaway because we've done those.
Yeah, no.
But a long vacation, like say a week, and it's not like, on Bliss or even in Naughty and Nolans, where like you can leave people and find a bunch of casual friends.
No, like something that not like we went to the same place at the same time necessarily, but something like we plan to go on vacation together to spend the vacation together, fucking and not fucking.
Right. I think, and I'd agree. I think that's true because at some point during that time, like, people are going to they're going to see glimpses of the real you.
Right.
And you're going to see glimpses of the real them because you can't really hide certain parts of yourself for that long. And so I think in that way, boundaries get tested like naturally.
Yeah.
And if those boundaries are tested and people still kind of accept you, that builds a certain level of trust and intimacy that can move someone from casual to close.
Yeah.
And we haven't done that yet. So I think that's why. But a lot of couple, and that's not the only way. I think there are a bunch of other ways, but I think the key is like testing the boundary, testing to see how people respond when you expose parts of yourself. So I actually posted a question on Instagram about this, and we got a few responses. So one of them that I thought was interesting came from Brenda and Corey of the Mixed Nuts podcast. I don't know if you can read this out. So this is from Corey.
Okay, so this is something I had to learn the hard way. I thought like-minded meant friends. I found out a lot of people I put in the friend zone, I had to pick back up and put them in the acquaintance zone. Some women took my friendship as an okay to overstep boundaries, and worse yet, talked to me like I was stupid. As a result, I went to the far other end and practically made people have to pass a background check before becoming friendly to them. I am working on finding a place in the middle. We do have a handful of friends that are true couple friends. I learned to not give that word away so fast before someone has earned it. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm skeptical of friends.
Skeptical of female friends or male friends, does it matter? Or it's just the whole gamut of lifestyle friends?
I mean, I think both, but obviously for different reasons.
This triggered a couple of things for me. One of them might be a little bit off topic, but like, like when Corey said like women treating him like he was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is what he meant by it, but I interpreted that to mean that he felt like women were trying to manipulate him. Perhaps with sex, obviously. And I feel like women have no respect for the intellectual capacities of men when it comes to sex. Like once, and rightfully so. Sometimes sex, like it short circuits us, and we start acting like cavemen.
Yeah.
But like a man with a partner he loves responds completely different to these things. And it's interesting that there are still women out there that'll try to manipulate. This is something I stay very clear of. It's interesting if there are certain women who've approached me in the lifestyle, and like the way I would have responded when I was younger to women approaching me in the lifestyle this way. It's very different. It's very different because, I don't know, I guess, being a single male is just, I don't know, you respond differently to that kind of thing. But being in a relationship with someone you love and cherish and having a partnership, it's just, it doesn't mean much. It's just a hot chick, kind of,
right,
what I mean? It's just a different mindset.
It doesn't have the same kind of value.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have the same level of eroticism. It's just like, bitch, did you talk to my wife? Like, what is this? Like, so that was interesting. I think, there was another, so it's interesting that, again, like Corey was talking about pushing people back into the acquaintance zone, which is what we were just talking about. Because they tested a boundary and it didn't work. So they had to step all the way back.
Yeah.
So Brown Girl also commented, she said, for me, they are just lifestyle friends. I keep them separate from my personal life. Lifestyle is an extracurricular activity for me. So she keeps, and I think we heard this from other people, they keep their lifestyle friends completely separate.
Yeah.
Which is cool. A lot of people have a different philosophy on this kind of thing, where some are actually looking for friends. They'll write that on their profile. They're looking to be friends first before playing. Did you have a philosophy on that? Like, what is your feeling there?
I feel like if you move into the close friendship area, then like you can mix. I'm not along the lines of they have to stay completely separate all the time. And we've mixed company. And we've done that, and successfully. And so I think it depends on the people, the couple, and how close you are, how well you know them. If you know if they go, blow your cover or whatever, and sometimes you never know that. And I know people have had situations where it has been mixed company and they've gotten kind of their cover blown. And so they're like, never again will I mix, lifestyle people and vanilla people. So I think it depends on the relationship, but I'm not opposed. Since my friendship pool is so small, I'm not gonna be one to have hard and fast rules around that. When it comes to some of our casual, because I think we've actually tried. I feel like we've tried to. There are certain couples we have invited to certain parties because we felt comfortable enough with them to meet your mom, meet our vanilla friends. And then we'd have to sneak off to the side and be like, okay, so what's the story about how we met? Which I just love, but I gotta confess, there are some lifestyle couples I'm just dying to meet, introduced to some of our vanilla friends, just to fuck with my vanilla friends a little bit. They're just certain ones that are just so fucking uptight, and our lifestyle friends are just cool and shit, and just yo, just fucking stop clenching your fucking asshole, just relax. And just to see where the conversation will go,
All right. So this is another message from Instagram. So this is from Marilyn Mogul.
Everybody stays in their own box. Lifestyle friends, work friends, high school friends, college friends, and kids' friends' parents. We keep them all separated, but I do feel like we are real friends with people we meet in the lifestyle. We have been to haunted houses. Ooh, man, fuck COVID.
I had the same fucking response when I read that shit. I was like, damn, that'd be cool to go with it. Oh, God. All right, go ahead.
Out to dinner, birthday parties, housewarming, etc. I think these moments create friendships.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Fucking COVID. Now, so the only caveat here, I think, that this brought to my attention is kids' friends' parents. So if I'm friends with my child's kid, I wouldn't mix company because I wouldn't want to jeopardize my child's friendships.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because, like, if they find out, something happens and we're with, our child's friends' parents and they're like, oh, they're in a lifestyle, they have a, immoral home, you can't play with them anymore. Like, that would be, I would feel so bad that I would, devastate my child's friendship, because of something that has nothing to do with them. So that would be the only caveat on people keeping people separate.
Yeah, that's a good point. At some point we're going to be running into that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested to hear how other people handle that.
Or just be friends with lifestyle people that have kids that are around your kid's age.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that would work. That would work. All right. This episode has been great because I had to really think about a few things that I hadn't really been able to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
About how relationships form. And, this is something I've become increasingly passionate about. Because relationships are really important. And I'm not just talking about like friendships, but just relationships in all works of life. Your work life, school life, friendships are fucking important, and definitely important when you're trying to smash.
Yeah, because wasn't there, I feel like, and I could be making this up, that there was like a study that people who had more intimate relationships live longer.
Yeah, that's probably true. I know certainly as you get older, your friendships are crucial. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, that level of friendship means you may have a level of social support, which honestly is like our lifeline as we get older. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. This was a fun episode. Yeah, peace out.
Hey sexies, this is the Belle here to let you know that you can support us through Patreon. On Patreon, you can get access to our Pillow Talk conversations, where we have private reflections on media, sexuality, our dates, relationships, and life in general. Our personal blog, where we describe our private thoughts and lifestyle experiences, and get a shout out on the show. Ultimately, we upload content to our Patreon at least once a week outside of our monthly episodes. If you want to sign up for our Gold Tribe membership, you will get access to our band community, where you can have real-time access to us and our community. That's right, real-time access, where we regularly guide and participate in chats about the crazy shit we think about on the daily basis. It is also a golden opportunity to get regular access to us, where you can ask questions and tell us what's on your mind. Our Platinum package comes with access to our live monthly Q&A, and the Diamond package comes with one personal custom voice recording by myself or the Bomber, and a customized review of your lifestyle profile. These tiers are created purposefully to make delivering our content manageable on our end, as we have a ton of listeners. The proceeds from our Patreon support will be used to invest in better equipment to improve the quality of the show and the content we offer. You can find a link to our Patreon on our homepage at www.blackinkinkylifestyle.com.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please do check us out on Twitter and Instagram at blackinkinky. You can also find us under the same name on Cassidy, APG, Amore Getaways, and Patreon.
Check us out on Facebook and YouTube under Black and Kinky Lifestyle. Feel free to email us at black_kinkylifestyle@gmail.com or call and leave a voice message at 937-462-0744. Bye.
Black and kinky lifestyle.